Good evening, all you European people out there. My name is Ro, and I'm being joined here tonight by DuMmTm and Wiethoofd, our production expert. We're going to be bringing you some ETF2L action. It's week 3, at the cusp of the international land hype. We're a few days away from Rewind, but we still got European stuff to cover. So we're going to be bringing you Ascent.EU versus Elektro tonight. Pretend I know nothing about anything because I'm American. Break it down for me. What's going on here?
Well, most people have Ascent as the safe second place for this season. Depends on how alive 7's situation is after LAN. So that is currently their predicted outcome for this season. A really strong team, lots of strong players on the roster. Quite a bit of experience in the core, 2 new additions this season, and especially for today we see Chris not being available, so the sub-Eskimo plays in his place. So they stick with the double Irish soldier duo on their team for today. On the other side we have our Elektro coming in from the Premiership qualifier as the last team making it into Prem this season, and not too many people had them really highly rated because of that, but they had a decent showing, all things considered, against 7. Sure, they still lost it relatively convincingly, but they put up quite a fight for 7 to make it work in the end. And the last week's official against the German team with lots of big names on the roster, they actually managed to win it 4-2 in ETF2L scores on 2 maps. So, quite the upset in my book, and they have the potential to maybe sneak away some points from Ascent here as well.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I'm not mistaken, we were talking about this. This is basically Ascent's second match, right?
Yes, indeed. Because of 7 attending Rewind, they had to leave quite a bit earlier due to it obviously being in an A and not in Europe, so they had to leave early. And they also have the bootcamp going, so a couple of days to prepare for it in America as well. So Ascent versus 7 would have been last week's game, but due to that they couldn't play it then, so the week 2 match will be delayed basically. And Ascent only played 1 official with that so far against the Swamp in week 1 that they still won relatively convincingly. A little bit of struggle on Sunshine once the off classes came out, but they managed to recompose themselves and put up a strong showing regardless of that.
And right now, live, we're either getting, sarcasm or some juicy drama right now. Hembus is denying Eskimo as a merc for Team Ascent.
I think that's Mercs, because I'm almost convinced that Eskimo is actually rostered for Ascent. Let me double check though to be sure. Yes, he is, so...
Just sarcasm.
Probably
nothing major.
Either sarcasm or somebody didn't make the research. But Eskimo is in fact rostered for them. And I'm also almost certain that Eskimo is friends with the people on our Elektro. At least
exactly.
He made it seem that way a lot. So I don't think there's any hard feelings behind that statement. Yes, indeed, I checked our Elektro's roster page and he was the 2nd player added to the team. Ever. So I think they know him.
Yeah. So no juicy drama here in Europe. It's way too somber, way too serious,
Yeah, indeed. And we see map being resetted back to Gullywash as well, because reasons. But yeah, Gullywash is the first map this week. Obviously, our Elektro played it last week. Ascent didn't, but I'm safe to assume that they still scrimped it quite a bit to prepare regardless of that. So this will be our first map. Notoriously a good map for Demo Man on both teams being Elektro for Ascent and Jimbot for our Elektro. So yeah, on a demo-friendly map, you'd expect big performances from these 2 guys, and they are real talented demo-mans individually. Both known for pretty strong DM. And the second map later today, after this, will be Granary, which is a notoriously strong soldier map, especially on the mid-fights. And with good organization on the mid-fight, soldiers can have a really big impact.
Absolutely, they can tear it up, provided they're not touching any walls. Otherwise, it's straight to the match turnover realm.
You joke, but luckily that got changed just a few days later due to
so it's no
amount
longer a
of
thing?
public outcry. Yeah, it got actually changed just a few days later.
Because it was silly.
Yes,
arbitrary.
It's just hard to implement in practice.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. That's like, to me, that just sounds like one of those rules that like you would find in UDC, and that's why it's a terrible league. So moving forward, glad ETF2L is not going down that path.
Yeah, if we already ban bugs and glitches, voice pyro is still allowed. But, well, nothing we can do about that. At least we have to live with pyro being quite strong these days after the recent changes. I've seen a lot of games. Oh, well, you go ahead first.
Yeah, now pyro requires less aim than heavy.
It's actually more effective if you just shake your mouse more, so
exactly.
That's weird. But yeah, I've seen, especially on Gullywash, a few push-outs with pyro, where you just have your pyro go aggressive. People that can't leave fast enough will just get AoE'd down, and it deals so much damage in lobby specifically.
So, you were talking about the demos having a big strength here, and me having played demo, practice a lot of rollouts. This map in particular, I think it's a really fun game of like pseudo rock paper scissors on which way you roll out as demo, whether you get to choke at the 947 mark, or the other demo goes to the big door to get that first early sticky. Do you think Elektro is the kind of guy who's going to be changing it up, or... And then I say this because I think of Elektro as a strong demo man. Do you think he's going to be changing it up very often, or moving it forward?
Ooh, that's interesting, because I think Ascent has quite a few different strategies up the sleeve for mid-fights. I've seen... You know, you have the normal mid-fight from choke with the demo man and everybody going your own side. You can go enemy side. You can even play ground, which I've seen sometimes, even recently. But it's not as common, and Ascent has a incredibly capable sniper who's known to snipe to mid, and they are definitely capable of making these passive sniper mids work, so I'd not be surprised if Elektro has different mids in his repertoire.
Gotcha. So, got all of them lined up, changed their names appropriately, and tagged up and all that jazz. So we'll be going live here very shortly, my friends. And yeah, this is gonna be good. I'm excited to see some.
Also, you as an American probably have at least one familiar face in this game with Jinx actually playing from an A with.
So that is the Jinx I was thinking it was.
Yes, indeed. There's actually two in ETF2L with that now, but this one is the American one.
Yeah, no, the ping gives it away. And I was gonna say, like, I only know Ascent, but I was looking at Jinx. I was like, there's two Jinx at the high level of TF2? No, that's just normal Jinx. Cool. So we got everyone readied up. Here's our having their nice little rollouts underway. Got my eyes on Jimbot, and my HUD reload is broken, so I can't even see the timers properly. But Elektro is gonna be met with aggression from Azuminus. Azuminus didn't get that far as he wanted, but now he's jumping in with a follow-up from Callum. Callum's gonna get taken down, and then a follow-up from underneath is gonna shotgun Azuminus down, and that's gonna be Josh flanking from big door here. The med did go down during that exchange, and now it's the full flank. There's nothing they can do. They walk through the shutter door and immediately get mulched by Josh. And the mid gets finished off. Jimbo sitting up top. Ooh, trying to get some damage. Does manage to get that pick onto Josh, but it's a bittersweet victory because he's cut off.
He's lucky that nobody else comes in from the other side of the top area, and as soon as spawns with pyro and cleans up two people, Elektro with the pipe reflect as well. As soon as helping out his demo and putting them in a much better situation as they were in before, now back in control of Sec. Duo advantage still in Omvex's hands, but without many numbers up right now, they probably have to wait a couple of seconds before they can recontest this second point.
Yeah, they're working their way in through the big door now. Uber gets forced off. Kudu's right at the front lines, making his way around, not really connecting with anyone, and Azuminus on that pyro is able to do a tiny little air blast there. Now the fight is happening all over the shutter. A pickup by Jimbo. Jimbot, never know what to call him, is going to be able to clean that up, and a nice follow-up frag from Nevo, but a player did get behind it. Eskimo, who's trying to sneak his way around, but instead of going for the point, he's just going to be doing a little dance here with Azuminus. Gets the nice two-shot, times it around the air blast, and now Kelvin's life is at risk. Thankfully, though, Jimbo will not miss a pipe, and that will be the end of that exchange. Ascent now have no Uber to work with, and Kelvin and the rest of the...
is sniping though in big door. He wants the big frag, he's waiting for it, he's lining up his shots. Our Elektro moving in from the big door side, but Josh is holding up so much damage to the people trying to come up onto mid, and I think we have a really interesting decline pause here. Uber just being forced onto Gymboard being really weak to Josh aggressing. So Kevin already dropping one player here. Funds is pretty weak on the point, staring down Nevo, which with Scout runs could still go either way, but it'd be a tough one for Funds in that one. So yeah, unfortunately timed Uber for the Elektro side, but they can still make this work.
Yeah, right now, near as I can tell, Ombrak's only at the 35% mark. Players now Ubering up into the elbow there, gonna be able to catch out Josh before he can escape. Ombrak is nowhere to be found, he just dipped quick as he could. Callum gonna be doing a nice little boost there. I think the demo or someone launched him as soon as he jumped. Got a nice little air time there. Elektro now caught out up top, gonna go down, and now it's looking really good for Hempus. They lost their Uber, but they got the demo frag, and they're capping second, going straight to last. Ombrak is only at 78%. If they can time this now, they're just not going to go for anything. They're going to play it cool, play the long game, and wait for Ascent to make the next mistake. I'm calling it now.
Yeah, understandably, percentages were too high for Ombrak. By the time they were properly in, Ascent would have most likely had the Uber already. So it's probably the wiser thing to not go for this push off of the demo pick. They're just building outside, waiting for the Uber to come up and then search for an opportunity to push back into last whiff. And
yeah, we do see Kelvin now getting that Uber. Ascent cannot afford any mistakes this early on in the set, even though it's only 2 matches. They cannot afford a mistake, so they're going to be playing it nice and cautious. They got Kradu, their ace up the sleeve, and he takes the first shot, doesn't connect, and Callum is going to push him out of that river. We're going to be seeing pretty much nothing else going on here until Kradu finds the shot or gets taken down, and then Hempus pushes. So we'll see how
now
this,
we find out what caused here, and it looks like the medic on our Elektro disconnected, which is probably the worst case scenario, since now the Uber charge is gone.
Yeah, no, I don't know how you Europeans do, but in America this is the honor system. We let them build the Uber back, and then all is said and done. Nah, I mean.
Well, we see fake chat calls coming from Ascent to fake them out, but I don't think they're actually going with any of those. So no fun spy at spawn, unfortunately. And they are doing just what you said, they're waiting for them to get back the Uber. They do the fair thing. They're building outside, and far back as well, just in case anything comes their way. But yeah, so we see the game properly continue in a few seconds once the Ubers are back up for our Elektro.
So, they build up the Uber back. They've taken a little bit more liberty here, Ascent, knowing that, you know, they can't really keep those forward positions without a medic at full Uber. So Eskimo's ventured forward up the river, and Kradu is ready to take a shot! Unfortunately. But Callum did get taken down there by Eskimo, so that's going to open up the door for Ascent to start pushing their way out here. You see a lot of control here in the lobby. Eskimo still keeping eyes on that river, calling out positions. Hey, Kelvin's sitting up top on the bats. Maybe we can go for something, but now the respawn has come back, and unfortunately, Ascent did not find an opportunity to push forward other than just the one frag. And Eskimo taking a lot of damage here in river. Does get out.
Yeah, our Elektro was prepared for it, definitely. They were playing passive and blocking up the entrances to prevent that just people coming in to stack into the medics. Seki traps are being prepared again. Kratos still on sniper, so they still back on him. Last time combined with solar damage or something. This time it's Elektro Sticky taking out Nevo and Josh finding another frag as well. That's 2 down on our Elektro, and Ascent surely won't waste time this time around. They're moving in from top, starting to make some space. Callum takes some damage. He has to leave. Gets sync rocketed away, and actually Kratos, despite landing on the highest point he can find. Ascent uses the Evo, so does our Elektro. Exchange comes out. Who can find the better end here? Josh is so far the victor of this Uber exchange. Goes deep, finds a frag. Jinx blocks them off to protect Kelvin's life, and Ascent wins this Uber exchange.
Yeah, Ascent, I mean, Josh did all the work there with that Uber, was absolutely denying everything. Did everything a pocket should be doing in that situation. And somehow, miraculously, Kelvin just survived. I mean, his scout partner, whoever it was, I'm assuming it was Jinx. Jinx sacking his life so that Kelvin could make that great escape was really crucial here. There's still, despite all the time that Kelvin spent away, the Ubers are basically even, so it's looking really good for Hempus to be really comfortable here. You see a nice little hiding spot from Zunis here, who's trying to have his friend Nevo just pull some players over down that big door. They are actually starting to work their way in. They're not looking up. Oh, Elektro, no! It's almost over. He jumps down right into the face of Josh, but will get a 1-for-1 exchange there. Funds will clean up Zunis. Fists are flying over, but a 1-for-1 exchange doesn't really call for any opportunities to push here.
Yeah, most certainly though. Jinx and Callum are really aggressive on the choke sort of thing. Deal a lot of damage to Eskimo. He's not alone, Credo helps out there as well, so the team finds a threat. Credo goes in deep, wants to take the fight to choke, but he had to go way deeper than that. And Jinx and Callum take him out. That's the frag for our Elektro. Question is if they can extend this player in any way, shape or form for themselves. So far they're not being too active. Players are just bunching up in Big Door and choke right now. So maybe they want to go with it, but they take so much damage. Josh picks up as soon as, and any plans they had there quickly discontinued, and now the Ascent moving forward.
Yeah, Ascent have taken a little bit of room here inside the lobby. Fun's gonna get dragged onto Nevo. Eskimo gonna get taken down over by Callum. The Uber exchange is happening as well. Josh is out of the fight right now. Oh, nice sticky from Jimbot, but he's gonna get taken down by Elekor, who in return gets taken down by the 120 ping scout. The American scout, can he win another fight? He just needs to hit a couple pistols. He does. And Ombrak is all the way at mid. There is one player still behind. Josh was getting out of that fray, but he's gonna get met up by Jinx, who survived with 8 HP from a nice little splash rocket that knocked it down. And Kelvin,
Kelvin just hanging onto his life there, just barely, and Jinx being quick enough. Our Elektro moves back into mid now. US are still pretty equal after all this is said and done. So no big advantages to still keep up the pace here for either team. Our Elektro, however, in a much better position now and that they were in before. Both teams just building, and it will be interesting to see how they're trying to break the stalemate now.
Yeah, I like what they did, what Callum was planning to do. He did go for a little drop-down play, but at the same time they lost whatever player was on the flank, and that prompted the response from Ascent, but thankfully now Callum and the crew are starting to make their way in through the big door. Doing a little bit of room making. Eskimo is ready to meet up with Azunis, but Azunis is backing off. It's a failed push. They back out as early as possible to prevent any tragedy.
Eskimo gets baited there a bit, takes a lot of damage, just survived though, so Geist is averted on that end. And Ascent now taking the space and Big Door in return. Callum really far forward, get caught off guard, and he gets taken down, and Credu stays alive.
Very good initiative there from Credu. That pick is actually going to be real crucial for getting a little bit more room, maybe even just sending in a player to jump in. We do see Eskimo not even buffed up, so he can't even open the door. And a follow-up bomb from Azunis is going to scare everyone out of Big Door. A lot of damage on Eskimo. He will survive. Josh is keeping the eyes locked onto Choke. Does not want to let anyone through, but you know, Hempus is not afraid. They're focusing all their attention on Big Door. Demos can essentially neutralize the Choke, and there it is. Cal goes in, gets air shot, and immediately denied by a fake flick pipe from Elekor, so that's going to be the end of that attempt. And Hempus now to defend with potentially losing both their soldiers. They do.
Yeah, quick follow-up frag as well by the scouts on Ascent, and they want to keep up the pressure here. Moving into mid, everybody comes in from Victor, and the soldiers in from Choke, finding Jinx on the point. Nevo just barely stays alive as well, and that's the midpoint to Ascent.
Yeah, that was really good, punishing the players that were out of position. There it is, Fun's chasing down Nebo through the baby door. That's going to open up the door for Ascent. Start clearing the way. They've got a medic ready to exchange here. Jimbot also moving forward. Do have the respawns from Hempus. Keeping control of lobby. Now the initiation is from Josh. Went a little too deep. It's taken down. And then a scout, Fun's trying to juke his way around. He's getting caught in midair, and it's another pause.
Ooh, I wonder what's happening this time. Hopefully not another medic dropping his Uber technically with that. But we'll find out soon. Eskimo has the rocket primed. It's just inside his rocket launcher as the pause happened. And I wonder if that will be making any contact with Jinx here in Choke.
Yeah, I'm being told by our expert situation handler, Wiethoofd, that Fun's disconnected.
Okay, obviously it's not happening in real time, so you won't see Fun's disappear from his position in this pause right now, but about 90 seconds from now in the game. So he will still be able to fight the pause, unpause. Maybe he will actually be stuck in.
Maybe it was right here where he got stuck, because he's just kind of floating there, even though it unpaused for just a second. Yep, no, he definitely. This is the moment.
As soon as he realized, though, as soon as he went back to be safe and couldn't finish up the frag onto the floating front there, so he stays alive for now. Obviously he will disconnect any moment, as we know by now. But for now, it calmed down a little.
Yeah, and with Ascent losing Josh, there was a potential for Hempus to take more control, but they didn't. They back off for reasons unbeknownst to logic.
Well, they lost the scout, so they didn't want to take the risk anymore, and just playing it safe in this inverse stalemate.
So now Elektro pushing into the big door, getting good damage onto Kelvin. Kelvin with an iron will is going to be able to pop at just under 30 HP. The exchange is happening. Ombrak fading away. A lot of players trying to pressure. Jinx coming in from lower, and Jimbot trying to make something happen over here at the big door. He's going to get taken down by Funz, who's still winning this fight. He's juking around as best he can, but one pistol shot will take him down. And a retaliation from Josh does not connect. He will be pressured out, but thankfully Ombrak's able to save him. Hempus keeping an eye on the choke and the big door. It's a lot of pressure, but Eskimo is just spamming it to draw Callum's eye, and now it's looking really bad for Hempus. They still want to fight this in big door. They don't want to let anyone else in, but choke is practically open now, and that's going to actually allow Callum to try and make his way in. Eskimo is still keeping eyes on it, does not want to let any flanking happening. So
this is where the pause happened in game time. So once disconnected, they called for the pause, and now it's over again. So this is where the pause happened in the game. Looks like neither team pushed off of any of this, more notably not our Elektro with the one player down on Ascent, so they played fair as well in return and settled with the stalemate, but on the other hand, in choke, Credu does go down, so that's a pick for Ascent to do stuff with.
Yeah, but now the Ascent is also picked up on Zunis. It's looking really strong here. They've got the respawns in their favor, but Funz goes down, so now with no scouts to work with, their DM power goes way down, and huge damage onto Elektro, almost gets taken out here by the scouts. Jinxed, playing with fire, quite frankly, with 120 ping, jumping in and out of choke points. You know, 2 SAM rockets might be all it takes if one sticky connects just right. Nevo is taken down by the respawning Credu, who's now working his way around. Just decided to back off here. The Uber gets forced off. Nevo gonna be Jinxed gonna get flashed here, and now he's running around with Kelvin. They want to try and find their way in
so deep
before it's too late.
But they still managed to get out voted just away from each other as he was fade, so our Elektro manages to leave. Ascent teams up 2 people during this exchange. Callum late couldn't leave anymore, he was stuck in second after all was said and done. And Ascent still have at least one proper pick to work with into last. So voters are being thrown into last, trying to see what they can find, and they find so much damage on our Elektro players. And everybody in Ascent just stomps forward, Funz finds the pick, and the pressure is just not stopping on the red side, but they do lose some people. Our Elektro trying the hardest to make this work. Ombrak with the arrow deals the final damage on Jinx, and this is the 4th round to Ascent.
Yeah, sorry for calling it Hempus. It's Aura. It's very easy to say it that way. But that goes the first round to Ascent. Starting to work their way forward here. Aura Elektro need to, you know, get their act together. It's only been 15 minutes, so, you know, respectable round. It went back and forth, I think 2 times across the map. So we'll be seeing how they approach this next mid, as a quick bomb from Azunis is going to go underneath. He's going to get chipped away at, taking a lot of damage. Funz wants to clean up, but he's actually going to take a lot of damage from Callum, who might also fall up onto Eskimo. It's Jinx who gets the killing blow. Credu also very low on health. Player's so low on health underneath the point. The pistol flies out. Nevo connects 2, and we'll be able to take that down. Very nicely done here. Jinx is on the prowl, and Ombrak is getting shot at from behind. Will not be able to escape his life, and Elektro trying to do his best to at least get a consolation prize here. The pistol and the Iron Bomber goes out, and Elektro gets taken down by Jimbot.
And both teams just respecting each other's soldiers really hard on these mid-fights, not wanting to let anyone get away with too much, and it just ended with a lot of people weak on the ground, having to fight off each other.
So now it's looking really good for Aura Elektro. I hope I said that right.
Big advantage into last. Ascent setting up the defense, Pyro up, Sentry up as well. Pyro not close, so the idea is to airblast every projectile away from the sentry gun as much as you can. Keep it alive as much as you can. Uber comes in from our Elektro, and just as I said, Credu trying his hardest to keep the sentry up for a long time. Can't finish the job here for too long, and our Elektro finds a way and got 2 frags. Make that 3 on the rotating players on Ascent. A lot of pressure on the point, and without even finishing off everybody, they just stormed over the point, forced them back from it, and take the equalization round.
Yeah, it was really good work by the soldiers, keeping the spam up and pressuring people like Elektro who were hiding in water. Couldn't peek all that they wanted because all this damage coming out. They're like, let me not peek out. And then the scouts could just, you know, play as close as possible to the edge and deny any cap. So very good retaliation round within 1 minute, taking their first round on the board. Elektro now looking at the choke, and it gets some good damage on the Kelvin, who surfs all the way into the banana. And a big high bomb comes in from Callum and do some damage on the Josh, who's pretty much out of the fight. Good damage overall. The follow-up bomb from Cal is going to get on Ombrak, but he misses every single rocket. Does connect the direct, but Ombrak will survive. thankfully, because he dodged the first
Cradu is
rocket.
still going with it. He goes aggressively, chases as much as he can. Wants the Gimbot pick, and with some extra help from Josh, he finds it. That was almost a 4K for him. He just walked over the pond at some point on the mid fight and killed 3 people in a row.
Very nicely done by Ascent. They're in full force now, but Kelvin will have that Uber lined up any moment now, so Ascent might be pushing into what they think is an advantage or some kind of opportunity. It's not going to work out for them. They force off and they have a lot of damage on both players. They can't go any further. They've been denied entirely. They Ubered on the wrong side. Sentry was pushing them back from the left. The Heavy is on the right. Not looking good for them, and now they have to back out and deal with this counter Uber coming in from Aura Elektro.
Yeah, they probably had just the wrong spawn times in their mind. Hoped the player who was just respawning on Aura Elektro was dead for a little bit longer. Josh gets shuttled into lower here and taken out as soon as Funz wants to get the return frag, and he finds it, but he's pretty weak, and Elektro is on his case, just pre-firing him to stickies. But Funz is on it. The back cap will get through.
In my mind, I thought like crits was popped or something like that. I don't know why I thought that, but still, that drop on Kelvin and the back cap, very nicely done by Funz.
Yeah, Funz sneaked away. Elektro couldn't kill him in time, and it can go a little quickly. You just have a good opening.
Yeah, so 12 minutes left in this first map. Got Elektro once again at the choke. Did not. I don't know if he caught out Azunis, because Azunis is now going for the flank and he's not looking. Albrecht's going to walk right into it, take an early rocket, and all this damage is going to be great for Callum. But Callum gets denied with a nice little rocket there. Does manage to get the frag onto Eskimo regardless, and Azunis is still cleaning up in the back lines. A great mid for the soldiers of Aura Elektro. It is just Josh, and he's adamant about this shotgun. He's ready to fight anyone. He's in the back lines though, and they know it.
Yeah, and as long as they are aware of it, he can't do too much. Great mid from all the soldiers did so much work respectively, being a lot of damage coming in from behind and from the front. Josh tries to get now onto level, but not much you can do in the scout v soldier fight, with the scout on high ground especially, so that's a quick flag for them to push into last, and Uber comes in. Funz tries to deny as much as he can. Sentry up as well on the defense, both get spammed a lot. The Sentry goes down, Funz stays alive, switches back to scout. And fight continues. A lot of pressure on the point. Everybody on Ascent bunches up, and they do find frags onto the Elektro players before they can find them themselves. Only 2 people up, Kelvin and Jimbot. Jimbot trying to dodge the damage, but what much can he do from down there?
How is he still alive? Oh, he finally gets taken down in water, and Kelvin is in a rock between a rock and a hard place, but thankfully Jinx the respawn, waiting around the corner for the bada bing bada boom, takes down Funz, who was not expecting it. Don't underestimate a American scout. Except when he dies to Elcor.
This happens, and Ascent finds Neville as well, so no scouts for Elektro anymore. And the second is discontinued. Callum couldn't escape either, gets shotgun too much by Josh. Azunis just drifts away from them with his bomb, tries to deal some damage, but can't really commit to it. With that many players in Victor, he has to leave, and Ascent not only gets second, but mid on top of that, and still have advantage to move into the next second point as well.
Yeah, though it's very good that Kelvin did make his escape. They will have Uber for last, for sure. They're even trying to put a little bit of pressure here. Nice sack attempt by Azunis. Got some good damage on Ombrak, but will not be able to continue his life. He did go down. Evo. Good.
Yeah, Neville tried that, but they knew there was a sniper forward spawn, so they just pressured him as much as they could, completely block up the sideline, and everybody was just punching up in front of him. Not much he can do. Both teams have Ubers now. Ascent looks like they're ready to go. Uber comes in here from Shutter. Again, no Heavy this time though, and they quickly find Callum Frank as well. Sentry up, only in level 1. Counter Uber comes out from our Elektro, and Ascent is out of this point. Except the soldiers apparently, who take the fight with the Sentry gun. Josh needs some help there from Eskimo. They find Sentry Frag together.
Both getting taken down by the engineer, just sitting in the spawn. That was reminiscent of like watching something happen in a pub server. That felt very authentic. Anyway, the sacks just keep coming in. Ascent cannot get a hold on this last. Jimbo peeks around the corner, instantly 2-shot by Callum, and even dies to his own hand, hitting a pipe. So that's basically a wipe. And now they're going to get their second point.
Yes, and they have so much advantage now, almost 50% as well, and Elektro and Cradu are not even up just yet. And they probably won't be properly positioned in the mid by the time Elektro are making the moves. They're already in dog, sticking up the drop down, but they're taking their time. They don't have it, so they want to actually wait for this Uber, which is the safer decision, but definitely not the faster one. But if already rounds down, you might not want to risk too much here.
Now they're working their way in through the big door here. Looks like Jinx is taking a lot of damage. Does manage to get through the choke point. Callum's trying to initiate. He's got that Superman cape. But it's not going to be connecting anywhere. And they're trying to work their way up, but that's a dangerous slope to work your way up. And Elektro is just constantly grabbing all these feeders, walking into his meat grinder and being mulched right before his very eyes. So now it's just an awkward Uber available. They might even have to pop it here. They do get forced by Funds, who's juking. Poor Jimbot can't do anything more.
Scuba does actually nothing. This is such a good force from Funds.
Nevo way in the back line. It's going to get taken down here by Eskimo. So it's looking really good for Ascent to secure another round.
Jinx is hiding behind them though. But Uber comes in anyway, so nothing for him to force. And the Pyro denies it as much as he can. A lot of time being wasted there for Ascent. Ascent does go down eventually. And there's more frags coming for Ascent while they move the team in. Only Jimbot up anymore. And shoot Devilman on last. He is really good, but against 5 or 6 people, not a great situation to be in. And Ascent with a more comfortable lead now, 3-1 again.
Yeah, it's hard for demos to win those fights. It's a little overwhelming. You can flail your mouse and click M1 and M2, but at some point you just can't do it all. So we'll be seeing how he approaches this next mid. Both demos still opting for the choke rollout. Jimbot guys over with an early sticky. There's a sniper for Kradu, who's charging up the shot. Jimbo, you're at risk. Oh, thankfully he survives, but Ombrak dies right away. Azuna is doing a very good job of cutting him off over here in the banana. Might even get one more rocket before he gets taken down by Funds. Very nicely done, but Josh is on the prowl, gets the shot. 2 shots, all it takes, and Jimbot is going to get denied. Josh showing just what it means to be a European soldier that refuses to join the meta of gunboats.
Yeah, he is well known for not using gunboats quite a bit. He generally uses banners a lot. This time it's shotgun apparently. Speaking of which, he is forward taking the fight, but shotgun can't deal with 3 people. He only gets 1 of them. And we have Omberg switching to the Crit Creek as well as a sniper on the field, so interesting setup for Ascent here.
Yeah, right now, Ascent are starting to work their way over. Callum's trying to initiate, but oh my goodness, he got knocked back 3 different times while in midair. That's the worst feeling as a soldier. So nothing further on that. Nevo somehow almost timed it perfectly to just like intuitively jump around the corner and escape the clutches of Eskimo, but unfortunately he did get taken down there. So now with 2 frags against them, Ascent are going to be pushing with this Kritzkrieg through the river. It's all eyes on Elektro. He's going to be taking the first shot. It does not connect onto anything, but the sticky has, you know, set a tone. Back off or you're going to get mulched. Thankfully though, nothing more done. It's just Jinx getting fragged in. Somehow, or Elektro is finding more frags than the crits did.
Yeah, I think they wanted to just have somebody fake bomb in, and then the crits come in at the same time, but it didn't seem quite as well executed as it was planned initially, so it didn't really find much. It only locked Kelvin out of the later half of the last point for a little bit, but the sticky can be cleaned off, so they dealt with it. Kradu on sniper puts in the work, kills a medic, and this changes the entire pace of this game again, with Ascent now on big advantage.
Yeah, that drop is definitely helping out there. Kelvin and crew had an opportunity to turn this match around, but with 5 minutes left, losing your medic, and you're on your last. I don't know how Ascent can mess this up. Kradu once again taking some shots, does get the shot on the sentry, but Nevo is the guy who's pulling out the
crits get committed, and they find 2 of it. 3 stickies actually needed to kill these 2 people. Doesn't matter, Kradu finds Callum and the medic as well at the very end, just to style on them a little bit, and that's another round for Ascent.
Very nicely done. 4 minutes left. This is what you Europeans call the garbage time. We don't have this in America. We very rarely have it in America. It's the stipulation there, but we'll see how these mids are approached. Because at the end of the day, it's just fun to, you know, stun your opponents, right?
Well, yeah, and obviously you can still get some rounds on the board, make it more respectable for yourself, or if you're really pessimistic, just lose it quickly. But these teams, I want to keep fighting, and there's a lot happening, and Kradu finds the headshot of Never at the end here, after everybody just bunches up on the red side and trying to frag each other. Funds goes for, finds the Jimbo frag, chases down Kelvin, but he's really weak, and good arrow could take him out as well. But Kelvin can't quite hit them, hides in the corner, and Funds almost falls for it, but he finds him, and this is so messy. Funds actually kills himself at the very end of this, and Kelvin stays alive.
Well, that was something. Funds. If you're having trouble out there, you know, if life is getting too hard for you, Funds, there's better ways than hurting yourself. You know what I mean? Call someone, talk to someone. Meanwhile, Kradu doing some massive damage with those insane headshots. Gonna finally get retaliated by Azunis. And they're wrapping their way around. Or Elektro want to take this mid while they're fighting this haphazard, you know, halfway in, halfway out Ascent. Ascent now trying to make their escape. Nice little pipes there. Elekor gonna be able to stop that. Ombrak popped his ear off, and Jimbo's doing a little ballerina dance. Gets taken down there, and Elekor toys with his boot and then makes his escape.
But this is now about like 80% advantage to Elektro. Sure, they're 2 down. They only have to wait a little bit though for all these people to come back up and have a good way into the second point. And there's still a chance that they get around here. They usually right away double scout on it. Funds gets melted immediately. Nevo goes pretty weak there trying to chase people in the lobby. Can't find anyone. Jinx does go down to Elekor's pipes. Just standing in the door waiting for people to come his way. And Ascent loses 2 people here, trying to hold off this aggression in lobby.
And now you have the rest of Ascent wanting to stop this. Don't give them the hype. And instead they're just gonna be sacking themselves to the point. Kelvin jumped for the point, and a lot of other players just got completely obliterated. It's just outside the river. So nothing else can be done here. It looks like Jinx tried to go for a desperate attempt through lower. Clean up by Funds, and that was pretty much the last chance or Elektro had to, you know, boost their mood.
Well, yeah, you don't want to just get completely crushed at the end of the day, especially with the second match coming as well. So Ascent now back in the driver's seat, showing them how it's done. Jimbo kinda getting stuck there on the slope, can't escape. Nevo as well in the middle of all the red players, nowhere to run for him. Elektro taking Nevo down as well with the melee weapon there.
Ham is very strong. Meanwhile, we got Jinx on top of Ombrak. Ombrak's juking the best he can, and absolutely
Elektro pipes.
dances around it. Jinx is getting taken down there. We'll call that a ping blunder, right? That wasn't skill. That was ping, right? Is that the Johns?
Maybe.
So now Ascent finished the cap on mid. They're starting to work their way in. It's only a minute left. Or Elektro could technically turn this around if a miracle happens, but they're getting locked out to their lobby, and not much more can be done about it. Also, some forward spawn camping going on. Elekor's toying with the notion of someone peeking out.
Calvin did go down. Yeah, he flanked flanked up to them to the lobby, find the medic frag. They really want to make this a 5-1. They want to make it as convincing as possible. Storm in with the Uber from main, find both scouts. Only Callum left alive, trying his hardest to survive. The stick is on a point, so they can't really play it too freely. They're Jimbo behind them, and I don't think they realized, otherwise they would have done something about it already. Now they see him, and they need that frag to have a clear point. Funds finally gets his melee frag. And one is wide open. Nice frag there.
Oh, that was nutty. Dude! Both scouts are just in the spawn, and then he just knocks him in the air. 2 for 1 with a single air shot. That was insane. Very good stuff from Ascent there. Really showing up to the match. Bringing things down.
Well, yeah,
Ombrak breaking 100 points as medic. It's very rare you get to see that in 30 minutes.
Oh yes. And like you said, Gullywash, you can just do nothing productive, or you can continue crushing your opponent and make them feel bad about themselves coming into the second map, which is definitely what happened here towards the end. Ascent showing dominance. 5-1 at the end on Gullywash. Elektro had a good showing early on. It only about halftime it really slipped out of the control a lot.
So, Dumb. I've got some logs here, my friend.
Ooh, I like logs.
First one when I see, you know, the first button I click is kills, and boom, Ascent Funds with Elekor almost 10 kills behind him, 34 frags for Funds,
and one of them is a melee frag.
Yes, one of them was a failed melee frag too. Like you can technically call it 35 if you count yourself, but anyway. But the other stat I see is right there at the top, right behind Funds, is Elekor breaking the 10k mark. That's something you want to see whenever you're playing a 30-minute match.
Yeah, like we said at the beginning, 10K. Strong demo map, and Elekor showed that convincingly.
Absolutely. Just behind him, though, almost hitting that 10k mark, is Josh at just a hair under. He was like 2 rockets away. Like that last scout frag really helped to boost those damage numbers 2 for 1. But yeah, either way, huge damage, huge frags. I mean, that kind of writes the story itself right there, with how strong Ascent was in this match.
Yeah, certainly. Just add to Josh Fun's having incredibly strong games. Not to talk of the rest of them, was incredibly consistent as well. Eskimo did a lot of plays when it was necessary. Sure, it doesn't seem like he had that much of an impact, just lost it, but we just saw the match. We saw when he killed Medic, when he just distracted people on mid, how much of an impact he had still, all things considered. And as we were talking about American scouts being good, looks like Jinx hasn't quite gotten your memo there, with only 5k damage and going 12 in 26 only.
It's the ping, Come on. Right?
Sure.
But yeah, it can be tough, You finish, maybe you get off work or finish school at like lunch, have a little lunch, and then you got to go straight to European TF2 with 120 ping. Like, come on, give the man some credit. It's expected, especially when you're playing against, frankly, the top of. I'm not trying to overstate anything, but we're talking about Prem, high, whatever you want to call it, ETF2L. Of course, it's going to be you got to be trying your best, and if you've got those limitations like ping, it's going to hurt a little bit. And when we look over to the other stats for our medics, I mean the deaths were practically right in line with everything else in that regard. But when you look at the heals, a little bit of a difference there in Omrak. He broke the 1k healing mark, which is really impressive. That is a huge benchmark for any match. Is normally you see somewhere between 900, maybe close to 990 heals per minute. And Kelvin almost broke 900. He was at 894, but 1k healing is really strong.
Yeah, certainly. We had 2 crits as well come out of Omrak. One of them actually did a lot, the other not quite as much, unfortunately. But the second one won them around, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, 2 drops on Kevin. Obviously, never a good look on the logs at the end of the day as a medic. But one of them was a quick sniper frag. I don't remember where the second one was, to be honest.
It was, I remember a pipe. I remember being lobby. I feel like it was in river. Oh, no.
Yeah, we just get the idea that it might have been when he timed out. I don't know if that counts on the logs.
You don't drop when your Uber just.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
It doesn't count.
Yeah, you just.
There was another drop.
I'm not sure about that.
It was explosive. I remember that much. And I'm pretty sure it was in lobby.
Well, so much for that. And next up, after Gullywash, we have Granary. Unless our Magic Production has any more interesting stats to show us.
So, Dom, do you have those little reports up? Those little team stats?
Let me hope. I am not sure. Last time we did that. Unfortunately, they didn't load for me. Let's see if it does this time.
We're doing a hunt for these logs here, ladies and gentlemen, and it's not working out.
Yeah, I think my log page broke, as it likes to do for me, unfortunately. Feels bad, man.
Yeah, we can move on. We'll move on. It's Granary time. It's been a hot minute since I've seen some Granary action.
Same for the Europeans, actually, since it hasn't been played last season as well. But it's back. It's actually not the same as ever, since there's a new version, RC8, not RC10, or RC9, I think it is, called the Dagger made recently. Had too many changes people didn't like, so we went back just to RC8 as the most recent version to play. Small little changes all over the place that just make playing ever so slightly more convenient. Like being able to climb up on top or second a bit quicker from the main area instead of landbox, for example, and some other smaller changes here and there to just make it ever so slightly more convenient to play Granary.
So yeah, for all you Europeans out there who feel like it's been ages since you last seen it, the main things between Granary Regular and Granary Pro is Garage has 2 entrances now. It's 2 doors side by side. I believe the mids, also the crates, have a little bit more space between them and the wall. I think that's true.
clearly made to avoid wallbugs for everybody in you.
That was 100% the intention. Dagger knew 3 years in advance, you know, that hey, ETF2L is going to ban wallbugs, so we gotta make some room for these guys, for our boys that are using the sides of the mids, you know.
An actual meaningful change is on last that you can't swap your class immediately. There's a line in spawn that indicates where you can switch your class, which means heavies and snipers have a little bit more room to cover before they can finally switch off from the spawn door, which, in my opinion, is a little bit fair. People complain that it's annoying, but at the same time, having the sniper just stand in spawn and snipe away as he wishes, and then once people are close, just switch off, is pretty strong. So I'm personally pretty glad that this is changed like it is, and it changes a little bit how you have to approach the situation.
Yeah, no, the change is important because it gives fairness to all classes. You know, the reason the TF2 meta itself has evolved as, you know, scouts, soldiers, and demos is because they can move the fastest. They can get around quicker than every other class. So having the spawns a little bit closer, specifically in that main area where the rockets used to be, makes it, you know, friendlier for engineers and heavies that need to waddle their way out the door. It's much more convenient that way. And I think you mentioned it, the point is in the direct middle of the last instead of way back in the corner, almost all the way back. There's also a little bit of a change of the fencing, and as far as I can tell, that's practically it, outside of like some ammo packs added here and there in various places, because that used to be one of the biggest issues for the past like 10 years of TF2 with Granary. There's no ammo anywhere. So now there's an ammo, and including a little health pill, right by the shutter on last. There's also a ammo pack behind the propane tank, one inside the garage forward spawn. And I think that's also, you know, kind of important. The forward spawn is different. It's all the way at the mid instead of practically in the yard. When you in second.
What I personally want to see, just as I accidentally spectate Credo here, because he's trying to jump up drop down as a scout, is people actually using drop down. It has fairly heavily fallen out of favor in today's metagame, just because it's really slow to do, but due to nobody doing it, nobody checks for it or expects it these days anymore. I've seen it once recently while watching some Frem scrims to just inform myself how the teams are doing, and I've seen it once, and it has quite a bit of impact, because they didn't see the scout coming from behind, because they thought they checked everything, but little did they know there was somebody hiding all the way behind already.
Yeah, Granary is infamous for... The drop-down has a lot of infamous uses in its history as a map. And I hope we make some history tonight, maybe, you know? Maybe something clever and new, or even old, just makes its way into the top of ETF2L gameplay. And we see something refreshing about it, you know? I want to see really good drop-down shenanigans that don't get punished. Maybe.
Well, I also saw, before the game started, I was on the server a little bit early, because you never know when people actually join. So I was already here just preparing, and Ascent was still scrimming, and I saw Credo sniping, which in itself isn't something incredible. Well, he's good, so it kind of is, but just on Granary you can't snipe for the most part. But mostly on last or second, when you're pushing last, is the preferred places to be, or maybe forward spawn, but outside of that you don't see it often. But he ran it for pretty much an entire round, and it still managed to have a really strong impact. And I was really curious how much they will do that in their officials as well, since the sidelines are weird at best, but nobody will see it coming because nobody ever does it.
And right now we're seeing it actually in the chat. Apparently Jinx said BRB shower, so it could be here a while. That's a joke, ladies and gentlemen. There is no shower, but there is controversy. Apparently Jinx just said be right back and then disconnected with the spec, whatever. So we'll be on a little bit of a delay here, waiting for...
Well, maybe the shower would be the secret meta strategy to win this game. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe you gotta wash yourself of Gullywash. Huh? No? Something like that?
Sure, why not?
I'm trying, Dumb. I'm trying.
Clean yourself before you can clean up the other team.
Yeah, you gotta. Nah, we're done. This is going nowhere. So we saw a really strong showing from Ascent. Do you think we're gonna see the same thing here in Granary, or does Elektro have a secret weapon?
I say it will be a little bit close. I say 3-2 to Ascent.EU or Elektro on the second map.
Very confident there. We're seeing another good game, hopefully back and forth, and we're going live, ladies and gentlemen. So the wait is over. I'm going to be keeping my eyes on Elektro, opting to go very high, practically moonshots himself over to the garage, up to the catwalk, and pause.
And pause before the game starts. So pause number 3 wouldn't be TF2 if there wasn't 3 pauses a game.
Yeah, this is reminiscent of the old ESEA days. Where every game had at least 2 pauses.
Technical pause, we need a coach. Well, we don't have that anymore, since Cadus is actively playing right now. So none of that right now in this game. And unfortunately timed early pause, because if it was a little bit later in the mid, we could at least theorize how this would go. But right now there's just 2 demo wins mirroring each other, doing pretty much the exact same thing, namely sticking off the entrance to catwalk. Probably to catch off the scouts here, deal a lot of early damage to them, which is a really common thing these days in the meta, to just sticky off the catwalk, deal a lot of damage to the scouts, and have just a much easier time, since they will be required to play much further back and beat heals.
Yeah, so right now, funny story, your demos are mirrors of each other. Not necessarily in health, because Elektro took some fall damage from his rollout. But they're practically on the exact same spot on their respective catwalks. Meanwhile, Elektro looks like they're going to be sending their scouts to cat, typical. And then maybe rolling with both soldiers out through the choke, while on the other side we're seeing kind of a mix-up, half and half. Scout and soldier up cat, scout and soldier through choke, with the heals, of course, at choke. So, I think...
Our word was Zunas lost his connection, so every time a new player drops, and only 9 more pauses to go until we have all of them gone at one point during this game. Let's hope that won't happen.
So, we'll be going here very shortly, I'm being told. Unpause should be happening very shortly, and then we'll be right underway with this action. I'm curious to see if one of these soldiers can punish the choke push. You know, if one soldier can get really quick, just bound off the wall, head straight for the enemy choke, this could be a dead medic on either side.
Ooh, but at the same time, they kind of play around that idea, since it's Credo actually at choke as well, so they definitely are aware of that being a possibility and have a scout position there, like you mentioned. So they are prepared on the fence side.
Just very quietly waiting. I'm seeing very slow, careful ticking of the timers.
Well,
any second now.
What can you do? It's the classic TF2 thing. Just pauses everywhere. There we go.
Jimbo now sitting on top of the crates here, trying to get some extra damage onto the Ascent crew. There comes the fast bomb from Eskimo, going in high and tight, and a follow-up from Callum. He's the actual Superman. Gonna get some good damage there. Eskimo did get taken down here, but Ascent is not gonna... Oh, they are gonna start faltering. They've lost 2 already. Azuna's gonna go down to Elektro, though, and the follow-up from Callum is trying to cut off the escape route of Credu. The rest of Ascent are fleeing for their shutter here, and meanwhile, Elektro is very comfortable with owning this mid, and a follow-up. Pestle does manage to take down Elektro here. It's looking very strong. They could even take the second point off of this before they've even finished half the cap of mid. But Eskimo! No! Gets the force onto poor Kelvin, and that's not good at all. The Uber exchange does happen. Ombrak having a much better Uber here. The cutoff for Kelvin. He can't juke away from that one, and Credu and Funds doing a very good job of taking down the all these players. We do have a player sneaking in through the lunchbox. It's Jinx. Gonna be meeting up with Eskimo, but probably gonna get taken down here.
Okay, looks like my game struggled a little bit out of the pause with everything looking kind of weird, but looks like I'm bad. And we have the Zuns hiding in the corner, but he gets spotted. So his hiding while being timed out didn't quite work as nicely as he hoped for. But once you time out, it doesn't really change anything if you are dead or not, since you can't do anything anyway. This is where the pause happened as well, so we know for sure that we're timed out in the corner. And Ascent back on top of things, taking mid. Decent Uber lead as well. They're moving into the second, or yard for that matter. Throwing some damage at the shutter door. Lynx takes a lot of it, but he stays alive. Uber's being built while they move along. Rotating to lunchbox, and Ubers are up any second. Azunas, just as he comes back in the game, instantly gets fragged again. And they're making their way into second now.
Yep, they've pretty much flooded the place out, smoked it out really. Now they're starting to work their way in through this push. Jimbo might get taken down here. The Uber gets popped off. Very clutch by Kelvin. And now we're going to be seeing the rest of Ascent trying to escape. Umbrak can't get taken down here, but it's Nevo getting the headshot into poor Mr. Elektro, who could not escape. So now it's really good for Elektro to start making their way in. There's only soldiers to really worry about when you're walking in through these narrow entrances. And they will get the frag on that funds here. Also good damage onto Kradu. No scouts to speak of from Ascent. They had their respawns, including a demo man. So they will be able to defend their yard here, but they don't want to stay locked up forever. So Elektro is now starting to push their way through. But the demo man is putting up a defense. Going to be able to get some good damage onto Nebo. And now he's dropping around the corner. Callum hits a nice shot, but thankfully Elektro was buffed, so just about a scratch.
And at the end of the day, both teams lose one player. Neither team wants to really keep going without full numbers, so we'll be staying here for a second. Uber, for all intents and purposes, even I don't think it's enough for anybody to push off. And Ascent actually starting to make moves here. First, Josh jumps up into Lunchbox. Both soldiers take a lot of damage. Josh, the one who takes the short end of the stick. He credits with that. The shotgun not helping him in that situation. And Elektro finds a quick return frag as well to Jinx, just peeking into his sticky traps.
And they're clearing the way right now, opening up the door for potentially pushing in through Z. A little bit of lunchbox action. Fun's taking a lot of damage here from Azunis, who's also very low on health. The cap is getting lightly sprinkled by the feats of all these Ascent players. And Elektro is trying to put up a cheeky little trap there. Going to be met with a little bit of opposition here from Elektro. They don't want to give up any more room. They're doing a very good job of standing up to the pressure. But Ascent keeps pressing.
Yeah, Ascent is just playing this really calculated and passive. And speaking of drop-down plays before the game started, there's Azunis waddling through the small area there. Is behind them. Never distract them in Lunchbox. Callum finds a and there comes Azunis jumping straight into them. The force gets popped off. Only Never died. Azunis can't survive this, however, and gets taken down by Curtis. So they still lost 2 people for this force, but they didn't have to use it themselves.
Potential there for funds to come in, but he missed his opportunity, got spotted out, and then gets cleaned up there by Callum. So now it's looking really strong. They're going to be putting a little bit more careful eye on drop down. Ascent do not want to make any more mistakes here, but the Uber is ready and blaring from good old Elektro. Starting to work their way in through the choke. We cut him off of the garage now. A little bit of a pressure from Eskimo. Does get denied the escape, and now Jimbot's pushing really aggressive, trying to cut off any possibility of Umbrak from escaping. Some good damage onto him, but he will get taken down there, and that's not good. The Uber also did get forced off, and nobody to meet up with. Kelv's actually might even lose his teammates here. Azunis did a good job to clean up on
nice Josh's way out. That's a quick nice rocket onto funds as well. 2 direct in a row. Callum on top of his game today, cleaning up everybody on mid for his team, and his medics stay safe with him. But at the end of the day, Umbrak still has the advantage in his hands.
That's looking really strong now for Ascent. Just kind of playing, waiting for the respawns, and Elektro is giving him a little bit too much credit. They're playing very passive. There was nobody on the mid, really. So they could have gotten a little bit of pressure on, maybe gotten someone a little bit in, try to sneak him in, but
yeah, they're respecting
they're playing on the defense here.
No attempt on the force is a little bit surprising, since now Ascent can potentially just threaten this advantage forward through yard, not even have to use for yard, basically get this one for free on top of mid again, and have the Uber ready for second. But at this time, Kelvin almost has his Uber ready, so something needs to be done about the Uber situation for either of these teams. It's still a tight game, with neither team scoring just yet after 6.5 minutes. And Ascent, again in the same situation we had before, trying to find an advantage by slowly moving forward here. And then Lunchbox, and Azun is not quick enough this time around, does get taken down. Jinx can't find the return track, and Ascent found an advantage to use now.
They're starting to work their way in. Again, through this lunchbox, a lot of pressure coming out. They're not really getting any further along. Oh, that great trap hidden behind the weird hubcaps from Jimbot. We'll take down Elektro, and a little Uber exchange is happening now, but the better hand of this is that there's no demo for Ascent, so now there's going to be a lot of pressure here to defend. Josh though jumps down and is going to get some pressure on it. Kelvin isn't even aware of it, is potentially going to get his frag, doesn't, but thankfully Jimbot will prevent him from doing any more harm. So now it's kind of weird. We got Ascent backing up, Umbrak meeting up with everyone at mid. Second is defended by Elektro. Now they're pushing their way in through the choke here. They have eyes on Umbrak, and oh, poor Elektro might get juggled back. does survive. Eskimo taking a little bit of damage here. One pipe's all gonna take Jimbot. Oh, Nevo's on the hunt. He's in his base. He's getting around Elektro, but isn't connecting anything. And now, somehow, miraculously, Elektro aren't pushing into mid.
Yeah, they took way too long to find any damage onto the demo man, and now it's the Ascent's turn to re-aggress onto them. Very aggressive here. Kredu in deep, taking a fight with Azunis, loses this, however. Elmberg with the arrow onto Azunis all across the second point. And that looks like Ascent's go sign. They storm in, Callum stuck in yard, couldn't leave, and the rest of our Elektro just leaving as fast as they can. And they were mildly contesting them, only checking where they are really. Still 3 down, while the Uber hasn't even been committed yet. And Calvin doesn't but have points played. Ascent just parks and Josh on the point, tanking every damage coming his way. And that's a quick round for them.
Yeah, there was potential there for a little more effort from Kelvin, I think. He could have ran to the point or tried to get a saw or something, because he was right there, just moments away from getting the Uber. And not even the scout tried to jump on the point or just stall at all, because the respawns were there.
They were too scared of the Uber themselves because they didn't quite have it, and they basically had to make a split decision, getting your own Uber or blocking the point with your life. And trying to stay alive there was definitely the wrong choice in the end.
Yeah, when it's the point or your life, you gotta make that decision sooner. Meanwhile, this mid has a lot of flying soldiers here. Azunis, oh man, I can't keep up. There's everyone. Eskimo gonna get some good damage on the Kelvin there, but it's looking really desperate now. Very good job from Elektro to prevent any more. Ascent have not managed to get their mids quite orchestrated the way they needed to. And now they're once again backing off. Desperate sticky traps being laid out by Elektro. This cap surely will go. No, nice little frag there onto Azunis, but that's gonna at least open the door for them to pressure it. Ombra looks like he wants to walk in with his teammate, but there's so much damage on Elektro, and he dies to a roller. So that'll be the end of their defensive power. And they're just keeping the pressure up.
But with Azunis being down, Josh still wants to take the fight against them, and they have Uber as well, so they don't want to just give this up because they have no demo man. Josh storms in, Eskimo dies. However, during that, they get a quick return frag onto Jinx. The Ubers can exchange, but Blue Uber a little bit better just using later. Josh blocks them off as much as he can to just prevent his medic from being chased down, and it looks like it works. Everybody else on Ascent arrives in time, take down Neville. Jimbot can't leave either, and everybody just tries to get to mid as quickly as they can. Kredu on the hunt, gets Azunis. He eats an arrow though, and Kelvin needs to find another one, but doesn't manage to. Kredu picks him up as well. 4k for this man.
Very strong stuff there. Ascent are holding on to this lead, just proving they have what it takes to secure both points for this set. We do have Callum hiding though underneath the little patio there. Nobody's opted to look behind, and now he's found an opportunity. Oh, he's very careful, very cautious. He does get on top of Ombrak. Not gonna be able to connect a single rocket on the poor Ombrak. Ombrak is nice and shiny.
It's Nevo in forward spawn, trying to snipe, get taken down. What is happening? 2 down on the defensive side for our Elektro. Makes it really hard to have any real presence on second, and this is a quick cap for Ascent, and they want to get more of this.
Here it is, the push coming in now. Ascent doing a very good job of locking players out. There are stickies on the point, and Jimbot is still alive, but there it is. Nice frag there from Funds. He's just dancing all over. These scouts are having a great time. It's just one soldier up. It's Azunis sitting on top. He's actually managed to, you know, do a little bit of work here, but I don't know if he can finish it off. That'll be the end of it.
Elektro tried to kite this from the one side of the last point to the other, and managed to do a decent job of that, but they didn't have eyes on the left shutter door from attacker's perspective, so the flank was just able to get in, clean up the combo, and from then it was just this clean swipe for this round for Ascent.
Elektro looking a little bit desperate now to make some changes here. A little bit slow on the rollout. Jimbot even taking the fall damage here. Gonna be taking the early sticky as well. One sticky more, and that could be the end of him. He's so weak. Waiting for the arrow of life. He does manage to sneak his way onto the health pack, but it's already too late. There's no room whatsoever, and Ascent are coming in hot. But Callum doing a very good job of grabbing the crucial frag. Almac is down. There are no heals to work with, and Kelvin needs to keep himself alive.
Funds on the chase of Kelvin. Everybody forces himself at him to stop him, but he just defeats the odds. Takes down 2 people, chases down Kelvin, and he wins it this time without killing himself.
And that's a very late death to have for Medic. The spawn timer is very unforgiving here as far as waves go. 8 seconds behind the rest of the team, so they're not going to be very comfortable defending this second at all. Of course not. But even worse is Huge advantage now in the hands of Ascent.
When I see something that starts with crit streak in Ombre access.
Even better, dude. This is what I like to see, yo. This is a good last for Crits Creek. There's very little cover. If you can avoid the pipes, that is. You know, there's the little braces, I don't know what to call them, the legs of the pipes. If you can avoid the pipes and the legs, you'll have a good crits. Especially if you opt up top, but we'll see how they're taking it. Right now they're getting primed and ready.
With Zunis on Spider, he probably checks for it. So they might be aware of it. The question is, what can they do about it actually when it's coming their way?
And here it comes, the crit gets popped off. The shot connects on the Gymbot, and with now no demo to worry about any stickies, it's going to be Eskimo who's jumping forward now, getting some good damage onto the soldier. Azunas takes him down, and has now got the high ground, does get pistoled away by Nevo, and the cap time is pressuring. No attempt from a possible Uber grab that Uber saw. Kelvin goes down. Ascent secure a third round at the halfway mark.
Technically speaking, not even the crits doing most of the work here. It's just a good re-push over the one pick they had. Everybody comes forward at the same time, buffed up and ready, and that wins them this round.
Over here on this next mid, Jimbo a little bit faster this time, not taking any fall damage. Going to be meeting up with Elektro roughly the same time. See, nice little early sticky onto Funds. I want to get my eyes on the soldiers. Azuna is going to be taking lead here. Callum also following close behind. He lands on top of the Seagull post and is getting some good damage onto the combo, escaping out through the choke. An attempt is made on Kelvin's life and it succeeds. Josh also manages to escape out the choke. Meanwhile, the rest of the center also getting some frags of their own. Waiting for the players to rush in. Josh has got the cutoff for the rest of the garage, so no attempt can be made to escape. Or Elektro need to be very careful here. And there it is, Josh does try to get a little rocket onto Jimbo, but the sticky, the fadeaway surf is going to happen. There it is, Callum doing some good damage on Albrecht. He's half health, and now the pressure is on. Here comes the chase. He gets forced off there, not going to risk anything more, and that's going to be very good because now Elektro will have Uber to build up.
And, a little bit unfortunate for Elektro though, because they clearly wanted a dead Ombrick more than a force Ombrick, but they went fast enough this time around.
This is looking really good for them, Dom. Ascent might not have as much of an advantage as they hope because of, you know, getting that force. They can't really push this into last because there's a lot of pressure going on here. What does Elektro need to do in this position to win the game?
We already had Ascent in this situation before, and they managed to just isolate frags and move on with those into the second point. Just get one advantage and push. And Elektro needs to obviously A, stop this, and B, be able to successfully do it themselves. Second here on Granary is notorious for that. Looks like Ascent this time around, however, mix it up, just take the exchange. However, our Elektro sees it coming, leaves with their combo as fast as they can. Everybody in the center goes deep, get the force eventually, and people fall all over the place. No soldiers up for Ascent, no scouts for our Elektro. Jimbot with the later Uber tries to chase it deep into yard, but it fails eventually with a scout in front of him. Not much further he can go. Still, they found 3 people, only scouts up on heels for Ascent after this exchange, and Elektro chases them really deep here.
Funds might be able to make something. Oh no, he's 7 HP! Oh, he's dancing around Kelvin. Couldn't get the 2 shots he needed. That was very weird. I'm not sure if, like, you know, Azunas called that out. Hey, there's a scout on second, but Funds just had the freedom to walk all over there, and thankfully didn't make anything happen. Elektro getting taken down there, though, by Azunas. A little bit too far forward. Or actually, Azunas, who went deep, was able to get that frag there. So now it's looking really strong for Elektro. They might even be able to grab Josh, who's right above. Does get taken down there. So thankfully, no pressure there. They're going to get the cap here, but there will be a spawn wave of a demo. Elektro has respawned, but the pressure is still too strong, and they can't contest the yard at all.
And with the spawners almost up, we might have the mirror situation from earlier. Both teams have, and obviously Elektro in much need to make a push happen here of any sort. It didn't work for Ascent with an Uber exchange, so it will be interesting to see how Elektro will test this. And Jimbot gets overwhelmed on his side of yard. Everybody storms his way, scouts take him out. But Elektro with the quick response takes down both of these people, trying to chase any further than that. So yard stays in boost territory, and they want to get second with the fix as well. They start moving forward, Ubers get committed, and Ombrick has to oblige, uses himself as well. The exchange doesn't look too great for either of them, especially though for the blue team. Kelvin gets struck out, leaves as far as he can, and Elektro went down while this was happening on the other side of this. And the fight continues.
Yeah, now Ascent are crumbling just a little bit. Another frags all lining up for them. They do lose Jimbo. He's Josh is on the scene, but he will get cleaned up, and it's just Ombrak. There's no way Ombrak can defend this. Elektro is on the respawn. He could potentially do this. He could throw us a sticky. He doesn't connect fast enough, and that will be 1 round 2 or Elektro. They're not giving up. Dumb. They have a chance.
Yeah, looks like the exchange was indeed the right choice here, as they managed to isolate Frags after he was out of the picture and then just overwhelmed them really quickly. And now Elektro back in the game with this, only 2 rounds down.
Yeah, this could be good for them and for their season. You see now Elektro getting a little bit faster, hits the first sticky as well onto poor Jimbo, who's taking another sticky after grabbing the health pack. Jimbo's going to be out of commission for just a moment. Eskimo just a little bit too high, but didn't find a landing spot. Try and get some pressure up. There it is, the bomb from good old Azunis. Cannot let Ombrak escape. Knocks him into the air and waits for him to land. Gets the shot there.
But Kelvin so much trouble cuts his way. And Credo actually the one cleaning it up. But everybody else just punched up on the left side and he cleaned up for Ascent from there.
Ascent will hold on to it. Ombrak the only casualty. And he's even going to respawn in a very timely manner. Meanwhile, everyone's having a fun time yelling at each other on midpoint, waiting for their heals. The only person forward right now is basically Josh and Elektro. Might even get cleaned up here. They were very ambitious, and Josh lost his life for it. Elektro could have potentially been taken down there, but thankfully...
Well, from Respawn arriving,
with his stickies.
From Respawn arriving is a critted up Ombrak. Maybe not quite critted up yet, but he wants it. And so does Callum. He doesn't want Ombrak to get these crits. Is on his case with... Maybe not misses, but doesn't hit him with 2 rockets perfectly, but the third one will do the job just fine. But while this is happening, Ascent just cleans up everybody else on our Elektro, so the medfrag doesn't mean nearly as much as they wanted to. And easy sack cap, and Glass is wide open as well. And Ascent goes in the lead 4-1.
Is that 2 wipes in a single round?
That is quite something. If so, yes, this is Ascent playing really strong now.
We're looking like a repeat of the last game at a different pace. It's 4-1 lead right now for Ascent. We're gonna see if Elektro have something new up their sleeve for this mid. They were very strong in the first 2 mids we saw. Right now, Jim taking an early sticky, immediately falls down, takes some early sticky damage, and now is getting corralled by Elektro. There's no escape for Jimbot. Certainly he will die here. The follow bomb from Eskimo is going to do a lot of work here, but won't get anything more than that. The scouts of Ascent now are trying to take control of this mid. They've lost their soldier and demo. Josh also up top here. Evo is keeping an eye on anyone else trying to make their way up. He's got the high ground for himself. But now they have to back out, and Elektro will make their escape with only Credo in a position to push, and he's not going to get any further than Garage.
Yeah, and I feel like all Elektros like consistently a little too slow to these mids. It's just something I noticed. Every mid it just takes ever so slightly too long for them. And it just puts them in the worst spot right from the get-go.
So now we're seeing ooh! Credo playing with fire. Very low on health there, does manage to escape with his life. And now we're finally this is a rare moment, Dum. This is the first time we've been mid and second with even Ubers.
Well, similar situation, you just need to find one frag somehow and be able to extend of that advantage properly. But for both teams, it's the first time they've been here, so time to feed each other out in this damage. How does the other team approach this? How can I make them make a mistake?
Yeah, there are a little bit more options from your way in. The entrances, specifically above the patio, are a little bit bigger, so it's easier for mid to push in, or at least get someone in. Trying to see a little bit of an intent here by Eskimos, clearing out the garage, and actually there's nobody in left yard. Azuna's only just now getting to the fray, and he's at half health, waiting for an arrow desperately. This is the perfect opportunity. Kratos coming around the corner, gonna get that first shot, surfs the rocket in the air, and we'll get the frag, and that's a mistake from Elektro. They cannot give up the yard that easily, and now it's looking really strong for this Uber exchange to happen. They're making their way in. It's a good cutoff from Josh. He's getting some good damage on the Jimbot, and all these players having to get flash. It's desperate. It's looking really strong for Ascent now. They've cleared a lot of damage and a lot of room, but they lose funds in the flank, and that could be a very big detriment.
George overextends as well. Neville is a return frag for Elektro, but he takes so much damage. Lucky that fact that Jimbot hiding around the corner can't stay there for too long. Callum gets taken out as well, and looks like it works in the long term for Ascent. 3 people down, and they're already making moves to last to see what they can get here.
Yeah, Ascent have flooded in, doing a lot of damage here. Kelvin takes way too big of a dicky there, and the pressure is on. Azunas gets taken down. The respawn Nevo has to delay for 2 more seconds so the explosive class can come in, and a pipe connects onto Kelvin. They can delay this for the explosive classes. Here it is. Callum jumps in. He's going to be putting on some pressure. The Jimbo is going to grab the frag of Eskimo. Nobody else is too committed, so Ascent will have to back out, but they have a very strong advantage.
Yeah, they're very comfortable here. They found the medic in all of this, and they're just waiting to get Uber, waiting for the spawns to come in, and then re-push with full Uber advantage. Never building his sentry to hold this off as much as they can, but with full Uber, this will be difficult for them.
So now we're in a position where we're going to be seeing some of that off-class action from good old Nevo using the Sentry. Sentry actually has a really strong potential to do some work here if it doesn't get taken down right away. Finally, thankfully though, Ascent know better than to let it linger, take it out right away, and now they've got nothing else actually in this exchange. Finally grabbing Azunis here. They're scattered all out and the heals are only on one player. This is not what Ascent need to do to win this push, but Elektro is not afraid. He's pushing forward with these pipes. He's gonna get pressured over here by these scouts. He's waiting for that arrow and the respawns are coming in. It's not looking good. Creating pressure at the time of the point. Callum is also jumping around. He needs to get on top of this takedown. Josh, the cap is gonna go off. No! How could you let it happen?
Ascent just played this as long as they could. They made it an awfully long fight, and slowly but surely made our Elektro move back even further than they were positioned anyway. And eventually they found enough space on a point where our Elektro couldn't come out quickly enough to deal with it anymore. So smart stuff there from Ascent. And they have 5-1 in the lead now with just about 6 minutes left.
And an early sticky once again on Jimbot. He will fall down too, Elcor. And he's going to be getting some pressure up here. They're going for the slow cat push here. So now both players are up top. And the pause lag coming out. Callum going to be riding over the top. Good 2 rockets onto Elcor. Take him down, and a follow-up onto Funds. Ombrak, though, tries to go in, but Josh will already cleaned it up. And it's just Nevo pretty much alive. Jimbot is in the field. Gets taken down by Josh. Was that an air shot?
Well, I'm not sure.
Got jumped there very nicely.
But Nevo, the only one left for his team on mid against 3 people. And Ascent wins this mid eventually. And they're in a prime position to end this game score as well. As soon as on Spy, is he going with this? Yes, he is. He's positioned on second on the barrel, waiting for people to come his way. Instead of actually making the moves himself. Why move when they will come your way anyway?
But Ascent is out to lunch. Box, that is. They went the long way around, and Azunis will not be causing any havoc here. He could potentially stop this cap, and that's important. That's actually the best time to stop the cap. The Uber gets forced off, so Ascent's pushing in, and they got to worry about the cap here. But Azunis is waiting, and it's too long. They've sent 3 players to take care of it, and Azunis cannot decloak. Uber does end. They grabbed a frag on Kelvin, which is very big, but Azunis is now up to the frag, gets Ombrak, can't follow up with anyone else though. He will get juggled out into the corner. Eskimo in a nice little sky battle here on last, gonna be able to survive, pulling Callum around. Callum's got the stick out, doesn't last long enough, and that's gonna be Ascent winning it with a 5 lead, 5 round advantage, 6-1. That'll end the match and the map. And the match.
Azunis is spy play too little, too late. Getting them at good and all, but when you just don't have the numbers up anymore to defend second with, and means way less than you wanted to be in Ascent. Strong showing on the second map, definitely more so than on the first map, ending it by score this time around, with about 5 minutes left as well. So Ascent taking all 6 points in ETF2L points today.
To be expected. They're a strong team. They've proven themselves. They've got all the right stuff. You know what I mean? They're no longer a French team.
That was the problem with French people then?
No, that was just the mistake, and they fixed their ways. All they need is Elekor. Or not Elekor, Ombrak.
Well, Elekor and Ombrak are both French, so...
Okay, yeah, that's all you need. That's all the French can handle.
Alright, let's pull up the logs then. And see what those have to say about the game.
So once again, Fun's top fragging. But this time, a little bit closer with everyone else. You know, the frags are floating around the 20+ mark. So, not too big.
Callum as well, topping for his team, 21 and 16. And it showed in the game, he had a lot of really big moments where he just out-DM'd people, plain and simple. And having the best performance on his team for that matter. Good showing from him. Let's see damage. Josh as the heal-heavy pocket class, leading the charge a lot of the times. And making the decisions to take fights and starting them and dealing a lot of damage just by that alone. So he takes the top damage 318 DPM, followed up by both blue players actually, Callum and Jimbot, which is a little bit surprising considering the scoreline and the fact it ended by time. But these guys still had a good time on this map, dealing 307 and 285 DPM respectively, DMing everybody but Josh on the other team.
Anything else in these logs you see, Dumb, that paints a picture? I mean, look at those air shots. I mean, Callum and Josh.
I don't know
Bringing
if
it
that
down.
was fixed, but I heard that the pipes on Granary last are weird in terms of counting air shots. So I don't know. I don't know if that's still
Lame.
inflated air shots.
Lame.
But even
That's
then, it
really
can't
cool.
be only those. So there must be some real air shots in there.
So, I mean, what else, Dumb? What else do you think we need to break down for the people before we have some interviews?
Ooh, I just look at team stats and I see a pretty close game in terms of damage. But if you look at the actual frags, it's about 30 difference in terms of frags, but only like 1,000 damage difference. That's not a big damage difference, but a whole lot in frags. So the efficiency on Ascent to actually convert off the damage shows there quite a bit.
Yeah, one of the other things that, once again, the heals were really more stacked in Ascent's favor. Almost in that 1k mark, and a little bit less heals.
Oh, yeah.
No drops.
Albrecht only dying like half as much as Calvin as well,
Exactly.
so that has a lot to
Big
do with
divide.
that.
Big divide in the medics this time around. A lot less close. Nearly 50% more Ubers, technically. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say, Dumb, while I find some information?
I don't think so, but I have word that people for interviews are ready, so unless you have any more wisdom to share, then we can move over to those.
Yeah, no, the reason I'm trying to stall is I want to know who this one person is. Okay, now I know. So now we're ready to go. I messaged the person like 4 different times and they weren't answering, but Ombrak has answered for me, so we're ready to go here. So, ladies and gentlemen, Ombrak, Lolly, aka Kelvin, and Azunis.
Hey.
Hello, friends.
That's us.
Yeah,
It
I
is
like that
very
intro.
enthusiastic, Omberg.
What? Yes, always. That's my way of life.
I think he's just relieved.
He survived this game with no
Yeah.
Elektro.
Yeah.
He was lucky to win this game. Aura Elektro was going to Storm, but I guess they had Eskimo to get us.
It came down to the wire at the end.
So guys,
yeah, you go ahead.
yeah. So guys, how are you guys feeling about this match? Specifically Ombrak and crew. How'd you feel going into this match?
So there was a meme going on before this game. If Aura Elektro scored a round, we would ditch Eskimo forever and never play with him again. So this is mission complete. I'm really happy about this, the outcome of this game.
Goodbye,
Yeah,
Eskimo.
specifically because now you're trading off Eskimo for something better.
Yeah, Chris was away for the week, so we played with Eskimo. He's basically our intern. And so he has his time to shine tonight. For some reason, against like the way of a life or a mystery, but it was against his own team. And so we played with him, and that went pretty well, I guess. He complained a bit, but, you know, we don't care. We don't really care about his feelings anyway.
And also, or Elektro, you guys. In that first game, Gullywash, it was so back and forth in the very beginning. I was really feeling it. How are you guys? Like, what really changed? I don't want to say what made you guys fall apart. That's not the way to say it. But it's like you couldn't carry that momentum, right? So like, what would you change? What do you think went wrong?
It's just us making some mistakes. Like, I think when we went down to 3-1, we just thought we need to push, like we need to be aggressive, and didn't work out. Like we needed to make it happen, get some rounds. Didn't happen. Maybe we, like, I mean, the obvious thing is to not go down to 3-1 in the first place, but we tried.
Yeah, no, it becomes a much harder bridge to gap. You could say once those rounds start adding up, it gets a little bit harder. Like, how would you say you should like overcome those odds when it's like, oh, we're down 2 rounds, and like how do you avoid that pressure of we're not within a round difference anymore?
I don't think it's pressure really. I think it's just us making more risky plays, and I don't think we played aggressive well enough to warranty making such aggressive plays. So yeah, maybe take it a bit more slowly. Don't make as much mistakes. I don't think there is much else to it.
Right. Dumb, you have anything?
Ombrick, how did the situation where Funds killed himself at the end of Gullywash go down in the comms? That was quite funny. How angry was he?
He said, I quote, "This game is broken. I hit him twice and I heard the sound, but somehow it didn't rage." So yeah, that's fun for you guys. But yeah, that was a kind of funny experience. I could have followed him, but I expected the worst to happen, so I wisely came back with Credo, and that was the right decision.
Ooh, Ombrek not having confidence in his scout partner.
That's
confirmed.
fun. Who would?
Pulling out funds.
Yikes.
Also, I saw chat asking who will be the new unpaid intern now that Eskimo's gone officially.
Oh, everyone can apply. Then we'll have some interviews going on, and we'll get the more flexible guy that can take some shit and not talk back, because that's basically Eskimo right now.
Gotcha. So we need a sandbagger that can play on European ping. If you're out there and that's you, I mean, this is your place. Join Ascent. It's a very good org.
Well, yeah, I think... Well, actually, before we just call it a day, I do want to look up next week's fixtures. Ascent will be playing the German team that has undergone some roster changes, as I've seen. So, and arguably, I wouldn't say they're as strong as they started out now, with people just swapping classes and no set demo, and I think Smurl will be working for them. So, this will be easier than it would have looked like for Ascent at the beginning. How's your experience with the Germans against them in scrims or on
I think we've played them once. That was our warm-up before this official, and we rolled them in 10 minutes on the first map, and then it was way more closer on the second one, so I don't really know what to expect. And if, as you say, they're just making roster changes, I'm just expecting them to take some time, to build that synergy back again, and I mean, all of their players are already able, so I wouldn't call them weaker. They will need some time to adapt, and maybe playing them right now for us is a good timing, because maybe they won't have time to set things up properly. I mean, looking at the lineup right now, if they fix their issues, I still see them as a playoffs contenders.
A very respectable answer. Our Elektro next week against the Bus Crew. Currently seeded as the lowest team with only 1 point, but they're yet to play this week's official. How's your experience with them, our Elektro players?
Calvin.
We've played against them, we've won some scrims and lost some, but all in all I would say it's very doable to win.
Confidence now, so we'll see how those work out next time, and yeah, unless you have anything else to say, we'll just go ahead and do...
It's pretty straightforward. Unsubjectively, I don't know what the word is, but objectively speaking, who's going to win Rewind?
7.
And you're not just saying that because they're European, right?
I have some pressure.
It's probably gonna be Black Swan, because that's Jinx's team.
See, that's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear bias. I want to hear facts. Like, what is it that 7 has that all of America doesn't? What is it, Ombrak? Tell me.
I think Raymond is gonna die. Permzilla will sub in, but Permzilla will die as well. And the only other European medic available will be me, for some really random reason. So I think I'm gonna end up playing, and I'm gonna rewind by myself.
Nice.
Incredible. There you have it, folks. So look forward to it this week. Got plenty of EU action for you guys out there that are normally fans of EU. 7 will be at Rewind, taking on an insurmountable challenge of beating all of America. So we'll see how that goes, if they can do it. But we've got some aces up our sleeve over here on the homeland, so hopefully you guys will tune in for that. There'll be information on it at teamfortress.tv. That's where all the schedule stuff is for matches and so forth. So if you want to catch us out, watch the event. It starts Friday. We'll see you guys at teamfortress.tv and all its respective streaming locations that we'll be using for the LAN. So with that said, I guess we can sign off. Azunis, shoutouts.
Oh, shoutouts. First off, shout out to Eskimo, who he tried, man. Like, it wasn't too bad. And also shout out to our unofficial sponsor, Elektro. if you're ever in Norway and in need of electrical installation, you can call them at +47 71 69 18 81. I repeat, that's +47 71 69 18 81. Thank you.
All right, Kelvin.
Yeah, shout out to Hempus, shout out to Leto, shout out to Ducky, shout out to Simon, shout out to Pandemic, shout out to Rue, and shout out to Juno.
And finally, Umbrak.
Shout out to my team for stepping in, and Eskimo. I'm happy I don't have to play with him again. Shout out to you guys for making a cast happen. Shout out to Elektro for the good games. Shout out to everyone who's gonna watch Rewind. This is gonna be cool. So yeah, tune in, as Rose said.
Yeah.
And shout out to Turbo Dab. He's doing a great job. And shout out to Babs.
There you have it. And I want to give a shout out to my co-caster Dum, breaking it down for us with all his analyses. And Wiethoofd, the guy who will be... this was actually his premiere for TSTV, believe it or not. So huge shout out to him for camera.
With a lot of quotation marks around that, since he did do stuff.
Technically, this is his first debut in a while.
His first debut as a very experienced cameraman.
Yeah, we'll sign off with that. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you for more Team Fortress action later.
Bye bye.